Alright, right. It gets better, okay? Okay, this is a follow-on, basically, from the last two videos, again. I'm sorry that last video was kind of all over the place, very difficult to understand. I will be making, like, some kind of condensed versions of that coming up, but I just really wanted to just dump the whole lot out there to begin with, and then I'll kind of go back over it a little bit more and more. Every time I do another video, we'll go over little bits and bobs of it again. So eventually it will make more sense. But okay, so that last video with the rust shooting, okay, the rust shooting decode, essentially how it connects into Back to the Future. That takes us to a point, yeah. Rust is 78 in the Gematria. It gives us that 187 murder, death, kill number. Okay, so the death, and of course, well, I'll explain this in a minute, but that day, the death date, is also the rebirth date. Okay, and I'll get to explaining that in just a second. But where I'm at right now is I'm at the point in which Mart is just about to be reborn. Okay, and I want to show you where there's a 10-11 reference. Okay, we have a November the 11th reference coming up right here. Okay, and this is important, right? Because this is just before. Well, let's backtrack a bit. Okay, let's talk about the actual death scene. Okay, so we have the two gun malfunctions, right, that lead to Doc's death, and Marty at that point when the gun's pointing at him and it malfunctions, he should be dead. Okay, that's what that's representing. Okay, we can't just shoot Marty dead because then the story's not going to be able to work. But what's happening when the terrorist shoots Marty in that scene, when the Libyans gun down both Marty and Doc, we've got the death of the Matrix, the metaphysical character, which is Doc. He plays the role of the spirit. He helps to guide Marty, and he also plays the role of the corrupted spirit, which is the Matrix, which is, that's the inventor side of him, yeah? All these crazy inventions, and sometimes we don't stop to ask, should we do it? We know we can do it, but should we do it? And again, this is what gets us into trouble. We've got an awful lot of power at our hands, but we don't use it very wisely, okay? But that's what he's representing there, the Matrix, this constant push to just try and, I don't know what you call it. It's a constant push towards this idea that we can do things better, but actually it's not. It can't be done any better than how God's already done it in nature. Okay, but that's what he's representing. Okay, and he dies first, and then Marty dies. Okay, they essentially die at the same time at that point in time. Yeah, I mean we're just talking seconds apart. So those two things are essentially the same time. Okay. Then Marty is in limbo at that point. Yeah, he's come out of the timeline. There's no body in 1985 now for Marty. He's dead to that world. Okay, right. What's happening here is this is Marty getting lined up to go down the street and catch the bolt of lightning. Okay. At this point, he's getting ready to be reborn. Okay, and who's helping him? Doc's helping him. Okay. But we are talking about the 1955 Doc now. So the 1955 Doc, the 1955 Spirit, is the Holy Spirit. Okay, this is why it's a bolt of lightning, something from nature that's going to help him get back to where he needs to be. Okay, the divine spark, if you like. And Doc, at that point, is playing the Holy Spirit. Okay, he's still the metaphysical character, but now he's the Holy Spirit. Okay, and so at that point, Marty is going to be reborn. Okay, and he's going to be reborn before Doc is reborn. Okay, so he's going to go back to 1985. Marty is, and he's going to go back early to try and warn Doc, only because he believes that Doc has ripped up the letter that he's given explaining what's going to happen in that in 1985. Okay. Oh, so what is happening is Marty is gonna save Doc. Doc is Lazarus, okay, and Marty is Jesus, okay, or man, whichever way you want to look at it. But he's the rebirth. The rebirth of man is going to lead to the rebirth of the system, yeah, and the rebirth of the system is Lazarus, okay, and we get that 43 reference, yeah. So Jesus is 3 days, Lazarus is 4 days, okay. But what is, so we have everything in the right order. You know, Marty's going to basically have a fire trail, yeah. The fire trail is the phoenix from the flames. Everything has to be burnt down. This is why we've had so many forest fires and things catching fire all the time right now, is because there's a renewal in nature. When the old is burned away in the forest fire, and then there's regeneration, okay. That's the phoenix from the flame reference, okay. Again, this is something that's just happened in my life a couple of days ago, about a week or two ago now. The neighbor set his field on fire accidentally, of course. He was mowing some hay, and it spread over onto our land. So we got, 3 or 4 acres that got burned. But it's just another one of those references that creeps into my life, you know. I mean, it's just like, you just can't write this stuff, you know. I mean, we've been going through the helter skelter summer swelter right now of American Pie. So there's just tons of references that are physically manifesting in my life right now, and some other things that I'm not going to talk about, but it's just crazy. But anyway, I'm going to show you this 10/11 reference here, okay. The 11th of November is referenced right here because he wants to go back and warn Doc about the imminent threat. Save Doc, okay. And so he's like, if only I had more time, you know. I'm in a time machine. I've got all the time I need, right? And what he does is he types in, oh, look, here we go. 10 minutes ought to be enough. This is great that it's on the closed captioning because I don't have to play this now. 10 minutes, actually I will play it, but 10 minutes ought to be enough, ought to do it, right? So there's our October reference, okay? Now let's see where our 11 reference is. Watch this. 10 minutes is what he's going to type in. Okay. And of course, I can't play more than about 3 seconds of this without supposedly getting a copyright. So he's typing in the numbers. Let's see what it comes out as. God knows what numbers he's typing in. Now, did you see that? Okay. What happened was it was on 135. And then it drops to 124. Okay. Instead of 10 minutes, supposedly, that he's typing in, we have an 11-minute drop off there. Okay. He's going to go back 11 minutes earlier. Okay. So there is our reference right there, our 10/11 reference, right in plain sight in Back to the Future. Does something happen that day? I don't know. The next video that I'm gonna do, again, I'm gonna go back to the Future again with another reference. It was the video that I was gonna do before this one, but I thought this was more important to do after that last video. Anyway, it all will become clear. I know I'm kind of rambling on and kind of sounding a bit crazy with all this stuff, but there's just so much information to kind of put out there. It's actually quite simple, as I usually say. It's actually quite simple once you get your head wrapped around it, but there's a ton of information, you know, to try and make sense of, and it looks confusing at the outset. But this is what's going on. Okay, so we have that reference to with the actual day that Marty and Doc die the 26th of October, okay, I know Marty doesn't really die, but they're implying the death right there of Marty as well. The 26th of October is that splitter date, is the date right in between 10/11 and 11/10, okay? And the 11/10 is the pi day, the completion day in the dollar bill decode. And I believe also the dollar bill also has the October date as well in it, because of using that 51, using the 155 number that's at the top of the dollar bill and taking it as a 51-day leap from August the 17th, and then doing a 5-day resurrection count from that point. Okay. Whew. Lots to say and lots to put out there, but that 5-day resurrection takes us from the 7/8, yeah, which is the 7/8, which was the Rust gematria. Rust is 78 in the English ordinal. So that is 7/8, okay? That is, if we use 8 as October, 7/8 is that 187 number, because we can transfer October to an 18 using the way October is written for the 8th month, but is the 10th month. So we have the 187 number, which is the 7/8 number, okay? And again, the 7/8 number, if we switch calendars, takes us from August the 17th. If we switch back calendars, okay, August the 4th is August the 17th when we switch between Julian and Gregorian calendars, okay? And again, I'm going to link back to that in the next video, because I'm going to be talking about the Anne Hetch thing again, okay, or Anne H, as I'm calling it now. H, heck, I'm calling it the H. Okay, if you look at how they want you to pronounce it in Wikipedia, they've got the pronunciation as H. Okay, so Anne H, the H bomb, and again, you know, we're right back to with Doc. We're right back to George Washington. You know, look at the hairdo with Doc. We're back to, of course, Einstein is the first one to do the jump. The Einstein is, again, linked to the atomic kid, which Marty becomes. Marty crashes into the cinema or whatever the film place at the end of the road there. And this is, I'm maybe giving too much away for the next video, but he becomes the atomic kid at that point, yeah. And George Washington's hairdo is the atomic mushroom cloud. Einstein is to do with the atomic H bomb, you know. Okay, I've said probably enough here. I really wanted to get that out there, this 10/11 reference. This is right before Marty is reborn. This is referencing that rebirth, yeah. And the other thing that's interesting is Marty spends 7 days in 1955. He goes back on the 5th, and he spends 7 days there and comes out on the 12th, okay. You could maybe say he spends 7 days or 8 days, depending on the way you want to count again. But if we just go with the 7 days, because there's another date that is referenced with the clock tower, okay. And the date that's referenced with the clock tower is 10/4, okay, which again is 8/4, which is the 8/4 of August the 4th, which transmutes, what's the word I want, which will transfer via the calendar change to August the 17th. Okay, so we've got this 8/4 reference here, and 8/4. If you do my, I mean, it's just nuts, really. If you do I do my sevens with a line through, okay, and it's just something I picked up from a neighbour years ago. I used to go around to my, you know, a much older kid, and every once in a while I borrow some of his toys and stuff, and he was pretty good to me, really, for the age that he was. there probably was 7 or 8 years between us, I would imagine. But anyway, enough waffle. I just happened to pick up doing my 7s with a line through from him. Okay, I just noticed that's how he did his 7s, and so I just copied it. And so there's not really, I mean, it's a more continental type of way, a more European-y continental type of way of doing a 7, I believe. But it's just something in my life, again, that I've picked up, and that reference to the 4 and the 7, and those two things referencing freedom, yeah, and being out of control, independence, the 4-7 or the 74. It's interesting. You can kind of twist those numbers around. You can do like a 6 and a 9, switch with those numbers, and those two numbers can switch. Okay, get to the point, Dan. Well, we have that. We have the 10-4. And if we add on that 7 days that Marty is dead in 1955, yeah, okay, the missing time where he's out of time, we can add that 7 days onto the 10-4, which the 10-4 again is the August the 17th. So we can add that on, and it brings us to the 11th. Okay. Again, it's also the 4 plus the 7, you know, again with the independence thing going on. So it's just a nice little thing, and it also re-references Lazarus again. The 4th of October is Charles Lazarus's birthday, Toys R Us founder. Okay, and I've covered a lot of that stuff and a lot of the symbolism with that stuff as well. So we've got some super interesting references, and I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think just down from Burger King is a Toys R Us in the Back to the Future next to Doc's garage workshop. And again, we will talk about that here in a minute again with the next video. Okay, I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Yeah. Again, he goes back to the 1:15 time. The 1:15 time is when that whole thing kicks off. So we have that 1:15 or the 151 reference that's in Rust, and that references back to the dollar bill jumps as well. I'm completely waffling now. I just really wanted to talk about that the 10-11 that's referenced right here, right before Marty is reborn. So it is essentially when Marty is reborn. So there's a date there along with the 10-4 date. Okay, same dates, same date as August the 17th, essentially. Okay, because again, the rebirth, you know, when that, as soon as that dam breaks, you are reborn. Okay, as soon as the matrix is destroyed, you are reborn. As soon as that part of you that creates the matrix, or the false ego creates the matrix, vice versa. So as soon as that twin that you have living in you is dead, you are reborn. The system's reborn. Okay. All right, I'm leaving it there because I want to get onto the what the heck thing again. We're going to re-diagnose that thing now. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.